Swamini Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastachad Isatarini. Srila Prabhupada, your mission was to make the prophecy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu real. And you started in the most important nation in the world, United States of America. But after visiting Hamburg in Germany for a few days, you came to London. And I feel great fortune that being born as a lowly Scotsman, I somehow or another came into contact with your mission in the form of Lord Jagannath's Ratha Yatra festival, held in London for the very first time on the 27th of July, 1969. That's the day I joined. All due to your magnetic personality and your transcendental voice. This voice is reverberating in so many devotees' hearts. And I thank you for all the transcendental qualities that you possess because of your unalloyed love to your Guru Maharaj and to Krishna. And I just wanted to mention a few of those qualities today. But these qualities are eternal. You possess these qualities forevermore. One was compassion, choosing to leave the most holy of holy lands, Sri Vrindavan Dham, to set forth practically on your own. There was no God brothers who came to help you in your hour of need in New York City. But still you persevered. And because of your perseverance, this fire of bhakti began to burn very brightly in the heart of New York City. You planted so many seeds there, and you thought, well, okay, the next place my Guru Maharaj said I should go to and see how I can be successful was the United Kingdom. And I feel proud that I'm your very first Scottish male disciple. Why is that? Because we learned later on, not immediately, that Prabhupada went to Scottish Church College in Calcutta. And he was an Indian student. And all your teachers were Scottish. But I came along, and you were the Indian teacher, and I was the Scottish student. Reverse roles. And although I had the audacity to ask you personally for initiation, out of your compassion for this lowly Scotsman, you said in very grave tones, "That we will see." So I felt some hope that somewhere or another you would accept me as your disciple. And you did. And in those days, in the late 60s, we didn't have to wait 6 months or 1 year or 2 years for initiation. In my case, I had to wait a duration of 6 days.
The feast is going to be downstairs in the Prasadam hall, or it's going to be served out like yesterday?
And of course, in London, when you moved out of that very nice property owned by John Lennon and Yoko Ono, Tittenhurst Park in Berkshire, into central London, you stayed in a rented apartment, a one-bedroom apartment, just across from the planetarium in Madame Tussauds. And it was there that your servant at the time had the idea that you would take an interest in the so-called moon landing. You might have heard of that. That also happened in '69. And it was my good fortune and your love for your devotees that you allowed me to witness a particular conversation that took place between the servant and Srila Prabhupada regarding the so-called moon landing. He was the one who arranged the television. And the reason I was there was not to watch television, but to massage Srila Prabhupada. And he positioned the television in the center of the room, and it made it quite awkward for me because to massage Prabhupada I had to sit behind him, and he had actually also instructed that the doors of the cocktail cabinet where he kept his little Radha Krishna deities should also be open, because he wanted his deities to watch this program too. So Prabhupada asked his servant, "What can you see?" Because the program started quite soon. And he said, "Oh, they've landed on the surface of the moon." And he said, and so Prabhupada asked, "What is that like?" And he said, "It is very sandy, gravelly, and full of rocks. They must have landed in a crater." And Prabhupada said, "Oh, there's no buildings, there's no people, there's no animals and birds and beautiful lakes full of multicolored lotus flowers." And in amazement, your servant said, "But Prabhupada, there's no way any life can exist on the moon. There's no air and there's no water." And Prabhupada immediately said, "Then, this is not the moon." He said, according to Indian astronomy, the moon is a heavenly planet, upper heavenly planet, full of variegatedness, just like here on this planet. So he was establishing himself as an authority and establishing the authority of the Vedas in such a way that even today, no one has gone back to the moon. Why is that? Because there's nothing there, that's why. So Prabhupada showed also amazing ability as far as Trikalagya, knowing past, present, and future. This happened in Vrindavan. There was an English devotee, a brahmachari called Charan Aravindam, who made a very nice fountain in Prabhupada's back garden to his house at the Krishna Balaram Mandir. That fountain is still there and is still working. And we were all going on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada as normal, and it was raining very, very heavily at that time. And Charan Aravindam had just come back from Nepal, and he had adopted a little boy. And so he wanted to come on the morning walk. The boy was about 8 years old, and Prabhupada said, "How you will carry him?" And he said, "On my shoulders. He doesn't have to walk with us." And Prabhupada said, "Don't bring him. You don't come." And Charan Aravindam was surprised at this. In fact, I was a little surprised too, because generally speaking, when devotees wanted to go on a morning walk with Prabhupada, he gave us equal opportunity to have his association. But on this particular day, instead of walking the main road, the Chatikara road, we went down onto the Parikrama Marg, and that area was flooded. And there was a wall, and it was a very low wall, but it was just above the water level. And so Prabhupada walked up onto the top of the wall and walked across, and we all followed. And then Charan Aravindam, he got up on the wall, and within a few steps, he slid and fell into the water, almost drowning the little boy. And Prabhupada looked at him, he said, "Do you see what just happened? I told you not to come. Why? Because I knew this was going to happen." So the lesson I've learned from that experience is never doubt Srila Prabhupada's authority. And he will be, as is mentioned before, the founder Acharya of ISKCON for at least the next 10,000 years. Thank you, Satyanarayana Prabhu, for mentioning that, because this is an important point. That Srila Prabhupada lives in his books. Don't think because, oh, I'm a second, third, fourth generation devotee, I'm unfortunate. I don't have the association of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is living still in his words, in his books. And this will go on, expanding Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prophecy through book distribution, through temple openings, through farm programs, communities. And I've got no hesitation in my heart that we have to become incredibly optimistic. Regardless of the situation now, there's no question that our society, and someone mentioned it's insignificant, but that society is having an effect on the big society. I don't know if I can speak for a few minutes more, but I just wanted to mention, because coming from the UK, we have a place called Bhaktivedanta Manor just outside of London. And of course that place was donated by George Harrison. And just recently, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, David Cameron, he actually did the groundbreaking ceremony for this new project called the Haveli Project, which will mean that we can facilitate thousands of guests. Just like this weekend, you may have heard or you may not have heard, but Janmashtami at the Manor is on a very, very large scale, you can say. At least 85,000 guests come over the weekend. That means 25,000 cars. It's a lot of cars. But somehow or another we have the facility there for parking the cars, for accommodating 85,000 guests. So this is just a little tip of the iceberg of what we're going to see in the future, how our society is going to become the big society. It will no longer be the small society, it will become the big society. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and his incredible vision, because he built a house where the whole world can live. This is no small statement by Srila Prabhupada. He meant it. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for all you've done for us and will continue to do for human society for the next 10,000 years. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Dhananjay Prabhu. Mother Pavani.